Switcher Studio is a live streaming platform that offers possibly the simplest multicam switching interface there is. With a few smartphones linked up over Wi-Fi, you can go live in minutes and switch between them to create your very own mobile studio. It sounds like the perfect system for small creators, but as I discovered, it's not for everyone. Let me walk you through my exciting plan for showing you the Switcher Studio Live platform. Welcome to the warts and all Switcher Studio live, sort of live, test of everything that it does. Are you excited? Probably not, because you're looking at this and going, it's not very high quality. I thought I'll link up 5 smart device cameras over Wi-Fi and then use the main switcher, my iPad Pro, as a mobile dashboard to link between them like the sort of video jockey I imagined would exist in the future when I was a kid in the 80s. Then I'd be able to walk between these sort of mini sets, talking and switching as I went, like Kent Brockman on an outside broadcast at the Springfield nuclear plant, because after all, the central pitch of the Switcher Studio system is that it can only use mobile devices. There's the hint right there, mobile devices. Yes, that makes the system very portable in theory, but as clever as Switcher architecture is, and it is clever, I discovered it has some limitations that are worth looking at before you dive in. So let's look at some of the pros and cons, especially if you're considering using it for high-end live productions. It has a simple interface that allows intuitive switching between sources. The options for transitions and mixing screens can be customized to a fair degree and are easy to the eye. The live broadcast interface is also intuitive, and you can choose between all the main live channels you'd expect: Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn Live, Twitch, and a custom RTMP option for broadcasting to more than one at a time. The principle of connecting all the source cameras into one place is again really slick and easy to do, with a robust fail-safe option of connecting any device via URL, which has meant that there was never any messing about getting devices to connect, which is usually the bottleneck when it comes to going live. Just like OBS, you can add a vast array of pre-prepared and branded media to use as layers, either between sequences or over the top of lower thirds, watermarked logos and stingers. But I'm afraid there's a but. Have you subscribed yet? That's not the but. I was just asking. The real but is that all that good stuff is irrelevant if you can't get the image quality to be of the same standard as the rest of your productions. Now, I'm sure there's good technical reasons why the platform is intended to be limited to mobile devices only. Perhaps having pro camera integration would open them up to some really complex support issues. I can imagine that it would. Or it could be that there's other limitations around shooting in higher resolutions. But filming in director mode, you can actually record up to 4K. So I'm not really sure that that's it. Either way, there's a big contradiction here, which perhaps someone out there could help me understand. If you're going live regularly, you're doing it because you've already got a big audience elsewhere. Live isn't the place you start at. It's an amplifier of an existing audience, with the platform helping you get more reach. That fact alone screams decent production quality. So how can filming on a mobile be the only option? I really hope there would be a workaround, to get a feed in from a DSLR through a mobile device at worst and into the Switch, but I can't find one. So if you're watching this and thinking, don't care, mobile footage is good enough for my audience, then this is the system for you. But for anyone hoping to scale up over time to better production quality, here's the downside as I see it. The most obvious con for a professional broadcasting option has to be that it's limited to mobile devices with no way to bring DSLRs into the network. Okay, I've said that, but I'll explain what I meant there. No matter how good the cameras are on mobile devices, they're not going to give you the kind of image you see in pretty much every video that isn't live. There's no shallow depth of field, and that matters when you're wanting to make things look slick. The Switcher Hub must be a tablet or phone. To be fair, it really must be a tablet, as it's too fiddly on a phone. That sounds fine at first, and it does look very cool on a tablet, but the audio must also be plugged into that switcher or hub. So you can have as many cameras as you like, but the audio must come through that switcher tablet. Suddenly, if you're going to make use of the multicam options by having people in different sets like a TV show, then you're a sound engineer, and you're also going to need decent radio mics and a mixing desk like this. In my workaround for the demo that I did with my daughter, I put a Sennheiser through an iRig Pro and then linked it via USB-C adapter into the USB-C port on the iPad and duct taped all of that equipment to the back of the iPad so I could switch and move. But even if someone else was switching for me or I was working only from one place, I couldn't easily include Ruby's audio by, say, plugging in a shotgun mic to her remote camera. Her mic would need to somehow get into my iPad switcher. I could have used a handheld mic instead, and then we would just share the mic like a roving reporter sort of style, but that increases the complexity for the subjects and means that they both have to be in the same frame and close to each other. If only it was possible to plug in audio on the remote cams with, say, a low-profile Rode Wireless Go. This whole setup could be truly mobile and really allow you to make use of the up to 9 cameras you can have in a live stream. Where this can of course work is in setting up a studio-style host and guest format. But if that's the case, then why not just use OBS, where you can lock down a whole bunch of decent cameras and audio inputs that just give you a more professional setup? I mean, as it is, everywhere I look, Switcher is sold as live streaming on the fly. And here's me with my mobile phone, but if the audio options force you to sit down still in a studio, aren't you just back to live streaming with cameras on tripods? So I get that it enables people to seemingly get started live streaming without too much gear, but to then load them down with multicam that can only have one centralized audio input seems to miss the point of those mobile devices. Until that nice simple interface allows both better cameras and more decentralized audio options, this seems like a paid-for option stuck in the middle between the free OBS that allows pro cameras and audio, and the also free mobile live option of just connecting your phone to YouTube Live or whatever platform you want. I don't want to end on too much of a downer. I really wanted to love Switcher Studio because I think the design and architecture is where these systems should be. So there may be a workaround that is going to change all this, which is the video chat option. Essentially made to allow outside guests to call in, this might be able to solve the problem, but it's not yet as seamless as the rest of the system, so I couldn't manage to get audio when I tried calling Greg. If you want to see what OBS is like as a live streaming option, then watch this video here, or to simply use Zoom better, watch this video here.